Hours ago at Wimbledon, Aryna Sabalenka stepped onto court 1 for her first match since that brutal press conference with Novak Djokovic. Remember when he told her she was lacking intensity? Well, we just got our first answer to whether his mentorship is actually working. Sabalenka defeated Carson Branstine 6-1, 7-5, but the scoreline doesn't tell the whole story.
What we witnessed today was fascinating from a psychological perspective. The first set was vintage Sabalenka dominant, controlled, efficient, but the second set told a different story. When Branstine pushed back and made it competitive, we got to see if Sabalenka's new mentality would hold under pressure.
This was exactly the kind of test Sabalenka needed. Branstine isn't just any qualifier, she's a player who's been eliminating top seeds all month. She beat the #1 seed in her last 3 tournaments. For Sabalenka to handle that kind of giant killer mentality while managing her own pressure is significant progress.
Today we're analyzing Sabalenka's first post-Djokovic performance, what the match revealed about her mental state, and whether the intensity coaching is actually translating to results when it matters. Let's start with what everyone was watching for. Would Sabalenka show the consistent intensity Djokovic demanded? The first set suggested she'd learned the lesson.
The first set was textbook controlled aggression. Sabalenka won 78% of first serves and 65% of second serves. More importantly, she converted 3 of 5 break points. That's clinical efficiency. The old Sabalenka might have been erratic with those opportunities.
But here's where it got interesting. Carson Branstine didn't just roll over. Remember, this is someone who said, maybe one day I'll get a good draw LOL. When she saw she was facing Sabalenka, she came out swinging in the second set.
Branstine served 7 aces compared to Sabalenka's 3. That's remarkable for someone making her Grand Slam debut against the world #1. She was hitting with serious power and showed no intimidation factor. This wasn't going to be a routine win for Sabalenka.
This is where Djokovic's intensity coaching was really tested. When Branstine started finding her rhythm and the match got competitive, would Sabalenka maintain that consistent level he demanded?
The numbers tell an interesting story. Sabalenka had 18 unforced errors to Branstine's 26 and only 4 double faults total. For someone who's struggled with emotional volatility in big moments, those are encouraging statistics. She didn't let the pressure create dramatic error spikes.
But there's another fascinating subplot here. Before the match, when asked what she knew about Branstine, Sabalenka said, "I know that she's super pretty. That's all I know so far." Was this the old dismissive Sabalenka or strategic mind games?
I actually think that comment shows growth. Instead of building up her opponent and creating pressure on herself, she was managing expectations while still being respectful. She followed it up by saying she'd study Branstine's game with her team. That's smart preparation disguised as casual dismissal.
The match also marked a significant milestone, Sabalenka's 50th WTA win as world #1. She's only the 9th player since 2000 to reach that mark, but milestones can create pressure.
Managing milestone pressure is exactly what Djokovic's intensity coaching was designed to address. Instead of getting caught up in the significance of the moment, Sabalenka stayed focused on process over outcome. That's advanced mental game management.
Then there's the Carson Branstine story itself, a 24-year-old model who funds her tennis career through modeling contracts, making her Grand Slam debut against the world #1. This is exactly the kind of dangerous opponent that could derail a tournament.
Branstine is cousin to Dodgers first baseman Freddie Freeman, won junior Grand Slams with Bianca Andreescu, and helped Texas A&M win the NCAA title. She's not just any qualifier, she's someone with championship DNA who's been eliminating top seeds. Sabalenka couldn't afford to take this lightly.
What made this match particularly telling was how Sabalenka handled the second set when Branstine found her groove. The old Sabalenka might have gotten frustrated or overly aggressive.
The key was her serving under pressure. When facing break points or crucial games, Sabalenka maintained her service rhythm and power. That's the consistent intensity Djokovic was talking about, not emotional spikes, but steady, controlled aggression throughout the match.
This win also sets up an interesting storyline for the next round. Sabalenka will face either Lulu Sun or Marie Buzkova, both players who could provide different challenges to test her continued growth.
What's encouraging is that Sabalenka solved the match without needing perfect tennis. She made adjustments, stayed patient when Branstine pushed back, and closed out the win efficiently. That's championship-level problem-solving under pressure.
Bigger question is whether this performance indicates that Djokovic's mentorship is actually working. Can Sabalenka maintain this level of emotional regulation when the stakes get higher?
First rounds are about building confidence and rhythm. Sabalenka achieved both while handling a legitimate challenge from a dangerous opponent. The real test will come in weeks 2 when she faces established tour players in high-pressure situations.
What's particularly interesting is that Sabalenka looked comfortable being the hunter rather than the hunted. She's been in finals all year but hasn't closed them out. Here, she was the clear favorite and handled that pressure well.
The path to a potential final against Coco Gauff is still long, but this was a solid foundation. Sabalenka showed she can handle the early rounds without drama while maintaining the intensity Djokovic demanded. That's exactly what she needed.
For Carson Branstine, this was still a massive achievement. making your Grand Slam debut against the world number one and pushing her to a competitive second set shows she belongs at this level. Her modeling career might fund her tennis, but her talent earned her this moment.
What we saw today was encouraging for Sabalenka's tournament prospects. She passed her first test of Djokovic's intensity coaching while building confidence. The question now is whether this mental approach will hold when she faces top 10 players in bigger moments.
This post-match analysis was brought to you by Unstruct.ai. Sabalenka's 6-1, 7-5 victory over Carson Branstine was more than just a first-round win. It was the first evidence that Novak Djokovic's brutal honesty about her, lacking intensity, might actually be working. She showed controlled aggression, handled pressure moments without dramatic errors, and managed a dangerous opponent without letting the match spiral. The real tests are still ahead, but this was exactly the kind of professional, workmanlike performance that champions build tournaments on. For Branstine, making her Grand Slam debut against the world number one and competing at this level proves she belongs on the biggest stages. Sometimes the most important victories are the ones that look routine. They're the foundation for everything that comes next.